Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Ball Hogs PH. My name is Araneta. Our guest for today, filling in for Jinno Rufino, as we've yet to find out where he is in the world, the one and only Rafe Bartholomew. And in Los Angeles, the man that is left to try and find Gino, it's Mo Twister. How you doing, Mo?
I'm good. I think I know where Gino is. He's complaining about traffic, which, of course, is just as bad in Los Angeles. Well, maybe not just as bad, but pretty bad. But Rafe, you're from LA, right?
LA can get pretty bad, especially this time of night. If he's going from LAX to somewhere east of LAX, he's in something close to what EDSA travelers are familiar with.
Well, we will have him on the show in just a little bit, as he will be giving us the latest from what happened at All-Star Weekend. But Rafe, since you are our guest, you get to hand out our first triple threat for today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It happened a couple days ago, but this is still what everyone in sort of the NBA world is talking about most loudly and agitatedly. The Boogie Cousins trade, going from Sacramento to New Orleans for Buddy Hield, a couple of draft picks, and some Popeye's chicken, or I don't,
Tyreek Evans, and probably some chicken or something. And they get Cousins and Caspi. I mean, what a steal.
So I guess there's so many places to go with this. I guess first, guys, how much do we shit all over Sacramento and their ownership, their front office for making this decision now?
This is, if you want to talk about how much I will crap all over this, it would be 2:30 in the morning taco truck on the corner of Beverly Hills type of crapping all over this. This is horrible.
Like the dirtiest Del Taco restaurant in Sacramento.
That is how dirty and how much crap I will throw all over this.
But at the same time, we know that the Kings have a track record for screwing things up. That's why, while I don't think we can be shocked, we can certainly make fun of them, which is what everyone else is doing right now. But it's Sacramento, right? Yeah. Is there any other team, maybe Brooklyn Nets, that have made worse decisions
with
their
Suns
squad?
made really bad.
Not as bad as what the Kings have done.
Sacramento, they bring that extra element of like, how did this happen? Like, you just a total circus feel there. Like, what? Who knows?
Yeah,
like, no
all
one
of
knows
us
what's
as
going
fans.
on. Yeah.
We feel bad about our jobs because we feel like we could just go ahead and run that team, do a better job, and make millions of dollars. Instead, we sit here and we just kind of ridicule because it is comedy. It's real life NBA comedy what they do over there. And this one's a shocker. But at the same time, on the flip side, you take a city like New Orleans that has gone through some really rough times in the past, decade or plus, and all of a sudden they've got this twin tower superstar front court that we haven't seen this style in a really long time. You bring up things like David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Ralph Sampson, Olajuwon. It's old school, but so exciting because you have two guys that are top 10 NBA players. Yeah, I mean that's arguable, but most people would probably put them there in their prime. And that is really exciting stuff out there in New Orleans. And I don't know, guys. I mean, is Cousins going to bring the attitude, the technical fouls, the whining, or is he going to bring a different kind of DeMarcus Cousins now that he's got a better squad?
Yeah, I think that is when you're looking at it from the Pelicans side, that's the thing that I'm sort of excited to find out. I think a lot of NBA fans are going to be there. It's just like, this is like our first test to see what was wrong for Boogie Cousins in Sacramento. Was it that he was part of this dysfunctional organization where nobody really knew what was going on or could figure out how to improve things? Or was it all of the things that, were sort of well-documented things that he did to make it a bad situation? Some of the, at times being not the best teammate, the technical fouls, not putting in the effort he needed on defense sometimes, all of those little things that the bad sides of Boogie, now we get to see if he can sort of turn that around in what's not known to be the greatest situation in the NBA, but hopefully could be a better one than Sacramento. I think the one thing that makes me hopeful is there's another player there in Anthony Davis that Boogie, I think, will respect and want to sort of compete for him. Like, actually play, like, not just be like, man, I'm out here on my own. Organization sucks. They can't put anyone around me. This is, BS. Now he's got another guy, that other twin tower, to hopefully make him act like, this is serious now, like really, really commit to trying to win.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting for Alvin Gentry. I mean, there's been a lot of focus on what he's been doing with this team. I mean, until today, I still look at New Orleans, and I think that this is an underperforming team with the pieces that they had. But
they've been decimated by injuries so much these past few seasons that, again, you hope that they stay healthy so we can see how much Cousins and Davis will shine together. Again, like I said, top 10 NBA players, but the numbers they put up as individuals, obviously in separate teams, have been so elite. I mean, you guys have seen the stats, right?
Yeah.
This is like the only two players to average 20 and 10 in each of the last 4 seasons. And these are not 20 and 10 guys. These are 27 and 10 guys. They're not on the low end of 2010. They're the Cousins and Davis are the 1-2 in NBA 30-15 games in the past 4 years. They're big-time players now about to play together. And, if I may just bring up one quick point about the whole attitude thing, Rafe, right? Because, yes, that's what we're all excited to see. Is Cousins going to mature because he's in a better situation? A comparable player is maybe like a Rasheed Wallace, who for many years was a head case, was leading the lead in technical fouls. And then all of a sudden, he got in a winning environment, and it was a different Rasheed. I mean, the edge was still there. The energy was still there. The toughness was still there, but not like the jailblazer Rasheed Wallace. It was a champion.
And to compare
Rasheed
them
Wallace.
to another Twin Towers, a recent Twin Towers sort of example would be Zach Randolph, who also had that kind of sort of past and was seen as a head case. Teams up with Marc Gasol, they have they build sort of that defensive grit and grind Memphis team around them. And, did they make it to the NBA Finals? No, but they made it to a couple conference finals. They were a really good team. And obviously New Orleans would hope to do that and more. My question for you guys is, do you think even with big men this talented, is it going to work in the NBA today where everyone is playing fast, everyone is focusing on threes, and you put those two big guys out there, are they going to be able, when teams go small against them and try and run them off the court, shoot them off the court, are those two big men going to be able to punish those teams enough down low to make them pay for going small?
Well, I mean, I think that this is a different kind of Twin Towers that we've never seen before. I mean, these two guys, surprisingly now, I mean, they stretch the floor. I mean, it's kind of like a more developed, like what you were saying, Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol, that they are pretty stretched. They are more athletic than those guys were. It will come down to the rest of the team. Will Drew Holiday be able to make a couple shots? Will he be able to integrate both of them into the offense that Alvin Gentry loves to run? That's a fast-paced team, and now with these two guys,
Boogie Cousins does not like to run.
He does not like to run. He doesn't.
Not back on defense.
He barely even likes to walk. I mean,
but that's miserable, Boogie. We don't know yet. Again, that's why come Thursday here, Friday, you guys, we're gonna see whether it's a shot in the arm for him. I don't know.
Houston.
It's a good question, Rafe. And I think maybe I should modify it a little bit because I think what we have in our minds right now is that New Orleans is going to take the 8th spot. They're too talented to not be in the playoffs, but there's not enough time in the season for them to make a run for the 7th spot, right? So they're pretty much, their best case scenario this season is locked in at 8. Okay, now, knowing that, right, who cares about the other teams in the regular season? All that matters now is, will they give Golden State a problem on that with that 8th seed, right? I mean, that, at least to me, yes, there are other teams out there that are going to go small, but all that matters right now is Golden State because Golden State's going to lock down the number 1 spot, and it looks like the Pelicans, the best they can do is 8. Will this big front court cause a problem for the Warriors, or will the Warriors pick them apart with the small ball lineup that they seem so successful doing? Now, last season, we saw the Warriors struggle mightily against the Thunder because of size and rebounding. And man, Cousins and Davis are going to rebound better than any team in the NBA when you got those two boys working the way they're supposed to work.
And the Warriors are smaller this year.
Yeah, and the Warriors are smaller. Now, obviously, they got Kevin Durant, so it's not the same squad as, that struggled against the Thunder last season, even though they eventually beat them. I mean, can Davis, a guy who was a point guard in high school? Does he have the agility and the speed to close on a guy like Kevin Durant? Yeah, possibly. While you keep DeMarcus Cousins down low, block. He's not the shot blocker that Anthony Davis is, but he can still play big center down there. And I think, this is going to be a matchup problem. They're not going to beat Golden State, obviously, because they don't have the other firepower, whether it be coming off the bench or other pieces like a shooting guard or a small forward. But, boy, they can really create problems it's not going to be a clean sweep. It's not going to be the thing that Durant said the other week in Denver, we're going to sweep your ass. I think they might be able to pull off a game or two against the Golden State Warriors if they go ahead and meet them 1-8 in the playoffs.
I completely agree. And the thing is that this also, if they get into that 8th position, this will set something up all the way until the finals. If they have a hard time, and another team that gave them a whole lot of problems this year because of that was Memphis. If I'm not mistaken, they beat them
Memphis
twice.
Memphis has always given them trouble.
Exactly. So if you have, from the first round, a team that is beating you up and starting to drag you a little bit, giving you 6 and 7 game series.
Effect.
Yeah, and in the first round, which we didn't really see in the last one, and then come into that semifinals, that Western Conference semifinals, where you play either Houston, the Clippers, Utah, or Memphis, and they beat you up as well, and then play San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals. That is not the type of road that Golden State wants to go all the way to see Cleveland at the very end.
No, yeah, and I think really one of the things I'm excited about, if they can get that 8th spot, is we've seen Boogie all these years. We've never seen Boogie in the playoffs because Sacramento has been garbage since then.
Sure.
And I think Boogie can, as for all of his faults, for all of the stuff that makes him, has made him sort of a player that is that great, and you still can't get anything back for him in a trade, like all the things that killed his value as an NBA player. In the playoffs, that guy can be a monster.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Sure.
he can score
Absolutely.
at will. And the game, even against the Warriors, the game slows down a little bit in the playoffs. And Cousins he can just he leads the NBA in almost all like crunch time scoring like categories statistically this year. That guy can go down and get a bucket, and he has that. I mean, we know he has a serious mean streak on the court where he can just get in his head like, I'm going to take you down and murder you on every possession. And to see him do that in the playoffs, I think will be really exciting. Yes, I think it could give Golden State some trouble, especially with Anthony Davis also on the court. And it will just be fun to watch playoff Boogie, him trying to sort of put a team on his back, or really coming out getting like 40-point games back to back. And look, are they going to beat the Warriors? No. But yeah, they could really beat the living crap out of Draymond Green and Zaza and David West, and have those guys, feeling like they just got out of a torture chamber heading into the Western Conference semifinals.
Yeah, that's where things start to go down.
And of course, something they can build on for the next season, because, again, Boogie's not a free agent after the season. He's still going to be with the Pelicans next year, so they can kind of get excited about what they got, the squad they have, even if, say they get dispatched in the first round. You're right, Rafe. It's just going to be so exciting to see what kind of Boogie, what kind of inspired Boogie we're going to see come playoff time if they get that 8th seed, especially when you hit the reset button on your record. All of a sudden, dude, everybody's equal in that first day of the playoffs, and that just might turn Cousins into a monster.
All right, so we're moving on with our topics right now. There are 5 names that are being thrown around so much as we are nearing the trade deadline. We just saw, we've been talking about him almost every week with Boogie being traded. Now there's other names that are going to be you're going to be seeing all over your timeline. And I will name the 5. We'll start it out. And you guys tell me if they will get traded or not, in your opinion. Okay, start out. Jimmy Butler.
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
No. He stays.
It sounds like it's going to take, just a Godfather offer from Boston. Boston probably was the only team with the assets to get Jimmy Butler back from Chicago. They're going to need to throw in some of the, one or both of those Brooklyn picks, which are, high lottery picks. A bunch of those other, sort of attractive assets. Maybe Jaylen Brown, who was a top 3 pick last year. They're going to have to throw in a lot, and I don't know if when Boston has to sit down and look at it, they think that it really puts them over the top this year to compete with Cleveland. They still are basically rooting for more injury trouble in order to beat Cleveland.
Mo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the price is right for the need which the Celtics have. Sure, bringing in Jimmy Butler would be solid, but of course the Bulls are going to need a haul for him. You got a guy who's on a team-friendly contract, again, superstar status in his prime, though we've seen superstar young guys get traded this week with Boogie, but I just don't think Butler is a guy that can be moved unless you get a king's ransom for. It's just not going to happen with the Celtics. They can improve their team dramatically without having to gut it as much as it would take to get a Jimmy Butler to Boston.
All right. Andre Drummond.
Well, it seems like the answer is he's on the way out, right? I mean, what does Twitter say right now?
Before this episode is done, he would have been already packing his bags to Boston. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you think this is all hogwash? I mean, this is Twitter, right? I mean, all of this stuff is coming from Twitter. Andre Drummond changes his bio.
to unfollow Detroit, to put to retweet the Isaiah Thomas eyeball emojis, and to like put a picture of himself saying goodbye. All that would be one of the most crazy like okey doke misdirection moves social media has ever seen. It would basically make no one would ever trust any NBA like rumor on Twitter again.
Oh man, that would be
and I kind of hope he does that.
So what, are you saying 100% chance he gets traded, and all of that is because of what he has done to his Twitter bio?
Yeah,
and
Mo, if you take Good Times with Mo off of your Twitter bio, erase stop following Digital 5, basically cut them all off, and then do like a way of goodbye.
Listen, if I'm a brat, then yeah, it might not mean anything. I'm just being bratty. We don't know if Andre Drummond is. I mean, he seems to have a really good personality. He's a funny guy. Yeah. So I mean, this could also be a prank in a sense. But I would say yes, he's gone. I'm laughing that we're basing that opinion off of a Twitter bio and a profile pic. But yeah, you know what? I'm with you on this one. I'm being swayed by all of this social media pressure. I think he's gone too. I wouldn't have said that, though, if he didn't change his profile photo. Right? Or if he didn't unfollow the Pistons.
We were sitting here a half hour ago being like, these rumors are crazy. Why would they do that? And then it's like, oh, wait, he changed his Twitter bio? He did what?
What? He unfollowed the Pistons? Oh, he's gone.
But I mean, look, Andre Drummond, for real, he is a very young player.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go old man here and be like, these kids who grew up on their cell phones, these millennials, they it's not like to us we have I think a little bit more detachment from Twitter and social media than people of Andre Drummond's age do. This is really his life on that thing. Yeah. And I don't think he jokes on it the same way that we do, or if he does.
Sure.
I think Drummond is gone. I say he goes to Boston. I think that's something there. Okay, another name, Derrick Rose. News of him maybe going high interest level from Minnesota as Tibbs wants his point guard back. You see him going?
I'll say yes.
Yeah?
Does he go? I say no.
No?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do a Ricky Rubio?
I wouldn't, because you have that style of player in Andrew Wiggins. You've got that style of player in Zach LaVine, and I'm talking about aggressive guys who slash to the hoop, and to have a third one on that squad. I know why LaVine's gone this season, and we're talking about next season. I don't know, man. I say no. I don't think he's a good fit. No for me.
No?
I think Derrick Rose. I think the Knicks want to trade him.
Yeah.
I don't know if Minnesota will take him. I think it's all rumors.
Brook Lopez. Oh, it's the time of the year where Brook Lopez's name is actually,
Well, here's a guy that should change his bio. I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is about us.
Maybe just try and force the issue.
Yeah, this is about a done deal. He has to go, and Brooklyn knows it. They got to move him, right? He's gone.
The
yes.
problem is, I don't know. They can't. What can they get back for
No,
him?
they
I
can't do
mean,
much.
Brooke. Nobody needs a center like him right now at his age. I mean, it's crazy because he is a very good player at what he does. He's one of the best low post scorers in the league. I mean, after Boogie Cousins, he might be the best. But he's not that quick of foot. He can't really switch. He can't guard. You stretch him out and he gets in trouble on defense. He doesn't fit what a lot of these playoff teams need or want in their big men. So who wants him? And the Nets have been sticking to, so far at least, according to the reporting, they want 2 first-round picks back for Brook Lopez, and nobody's giving. They'd be lucky to get that.
They've changed their tune. I think. I mean, in fact. They announced that he's on sale. I mean, pretty much today. They're like, okay, we're going to take less for Brook Lopez. The fact that you are going to lower your asking price as publicly as the Nets did. It screams to me that they're just desperate to move him, and they're going to take anything now at this point. I like Brooks' game, maybe because he's a Stanford guy. I don't know. I really do like his game. I don't know. You're right. If it translates well to any of the playoff teams that are in contention, and those are the guys that are going to be kind of longing for a talent like Brook Lopez, but I still think he gets moved. I think it'll come at a really steep discount if they don't find anything in the next day.
Moving on, and our last name on our list that we were wondering if he'll be traded is the name that's been thrown around more than Boogie. Carmelo Anthony. Is he going to be finding a new home?
I say no.
Nope.
Nope. Me neither.
No.
I just don't see it
No
happening.
trade clause. He's, I mean, I think I think almost the way things have been so ugly in New York with all the weird back channel talk between him and Phil Jackson. And I mean, the not that the Oakley thing is really related, but it just made everything feel even worse there.
Yeah.
I think that he knows they want to get rid of him, and he has that new no trade clause. And I think at this point, he might just want to spite them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? F you, pay me.
Last one before we move on into our last topic here. Who do you want to see traded? Like, who would you want to save?
Do you have who are you thinking, Mo?
Save who would want to?
Who is in like a basketball
hell,
purgatory
dude,
right now that needs to be saved?
Gosh. The only name, I mean, it's just because our minds are so seasoned with so many of these names, like Jahlil Okafor, you hear his name every single day, and you think, dude, I just want to see what a guy who looked like a stud in college, was everybody thought he was, clearly the number one pick. All of a sudden, you see him kind of struggling with his role there in Philadelphia. With he being moved, will we finally see him break out, or was he just kind of a dud destined to be a dud? I mean, maybe him would be kind of my top
I would
choice.
want to save Dirk. Like, if we're coming towards the
No.
tail end
Are
of
you
it all.
crazy?
Yeah, if we're coming towards the end of
no.
it all, please, can
No,
we
you-
just get Dirk somewhere on a
Shut
contender,
the hell
please?
up. What are
Come
you talking
on,
about?
man.
It's so rare to see
Dirk
a guy
want that
who's
though?
No,
At this
he
point?
doesn't want
He's
that.
He's got the ring. It's not like he's
he's got
chasing it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a
Man,
champion.
I want to see Dirk in the playoffs again. Dirk in the playoffs is always some of the funnest things
Okay,
to do.
a loan. We'll do like a soccer style loan.
Yeah,
The-
right?
The
We'll
Mavericks
do a
can
short
loan.
season,
Yeah.
like-
We'll loan Dirk away for the playoffs and get him back.
Get him
Yeah.
back, right?
Maybe another name I'd throw out there, C.J. McCollum. I think that maybe moving McCollum, I know that might be a bold answer, but would be the right move for the Portland Trailblazers because they can get so much in return, and they don't need a guy like C.J. when you have someone like Lillard.
Yeah.
Yet, though, again, at the same time, we were saying Cousins and Davis earlier, right?
Yeah.
And those two guys there's a lot of similarities between those two guys. I don't know if that's a good thing in New Orleans, and I don't know if this is a good thing in Portland to have both Lillard and McCollum. I think McCollum's got a team-friendly contract, so he would get you'd be able to get a haul for a guy like that, and I think that might be the right move to make.
A lot of people think that you have to choose between McCollum and Lillard. I'm not ready to do that yet unless you are getting some kind of great deal back. I mean, Portland has not been great this year. They've underachieved. I think everyone would agree with that. I don't think it's because McCollum or Lillard are playing poorly. It's because all these guys they signed to a really, really big contracts last summer who people were like, that guy? Mo Harkless, Evan Turner.
Turner,
right.
Crab, all these guys getting between 12 and 16, 17 million dollars a year. Those guys are the reasons that Portland is not looking so hot this year.
Right, but you would have to package one of those guys with CJ just to get rid of those contracts.
Yeah.
Was kind of my point then.
Yeah.
If you're going to get a haul back, you have to also shed salary.
Then you're
And I
almost
think-
going into a rebuild, and Lillard
Yeah.
doesn't like that. They're in a tough spot.
All right.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Speaking of good and bad contracts, you be the judge. Mo, what's your topic?
Yeah, listen, Chris Paul verbally agreed with the Clippers that he was going to sign an extension, 5 years, $200+ million, 207, I think, if the numbers are right. Obviously, verbal agreements and the Clippers are not something that's set in stone because of of the past, but it looks like the Clippers are going to try to retain Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and continue with this core. I want to ask you quickly, because I know we're running out of time here, is this the right move to not break up this squad, try their luck in the next few years if they can get Blake back as well, in an improving an always strong Western Conference. I mean, some experts or analysts would have the Clippers even ranked as high as number 2 coming into this season, right? It was like, okay, the Warriors and the Clippers are going to be right there. So obviously they're talented right now, but giving 5 years, 200 to Paul, and then, of course, if they're going to retain Blake, who could be, could blossom into the superstar that, we've seen him in the past, or could be the next Amari Stoudemire, we don't know, with all the injuries. Is this the right squad to move forward with in an improving and, again, always strong Western Conference?
I think it may be the only choice for the Clippers. I mean, they've sort of gone all in on this roster.
Yeah.
They gave up a lot of their future assets, to try and improve it in the past, with sort of the giving away draft picks for Jeff Green, which didn't work out, and all of these sort of things. They don't have a great path forward without sort of holding on to these guys. And we've seen Doc Rivers doesn't do rebuilding before. That's how he sort of got his way out of Boston and brought as much of those guys with him as he could when he went to the Clippers. I think it's, even though there's the back end of a big Chris Paul contract is scary, right? Because he's
right, he's 31.
He's 31.
Like that, right?
You give him the last 2 or 3 years could get pretty ugly. He's injured more and more often now. But when he's still on the court, he's still one of the top. He's a top 10 player easily. So I think that it's, you do your best to keep riding this team, and as long as you can, hope that you get some injury luck against other teams. Something always goes wrong for the Clippers, right? They're probably thinking, bring back this really elite team and hope that things go wrong for somebody else for once.
Yeah.
And then with Chris Paul, I think there's always, you sign him. If things do turn south in the next couple of years, he'll still have value, on the court and as a name. There are always going to be teams like the Knicks out there, or you can get someone to bite on that, in the last year or two, even if it's going to be ugly. Someone, I think, will give it a try. If you have to trade him, you get something back. Or, if things go south in Cleveland and LeBron kind of loses his mind and he's like, that's it, I'm bringing in Chris and Carmelo and we're trading everybody. There's going to be opportunities to trade Chris Paul for something back that can help you grow as a team, even after you give him this big contract.
I think that this is gone. I think that we were talking about this, that this is the last chance. Like, the Clippers have 1 to 2 years remaining on this team. And to sign him to that length of an extension might be a little too much, in my opinion, for Chris Paul. I mean, maybe if it was a 3-year deal, okay. 2-year, maybe Chris would maybe try and pull a Dwayne Wade and take lesser money and try and, help his team rebuild while they're trying to win a championship, then that would be good. But I think that this is a lot of money over a long period of time that could be a disaster for the Clippers.
Yeah, the scary thing for the Clippers is that, if they don't, sort of reach their potential as with this unit in the next 3 years or 2 years, whatever they can keep them together playing at that level for, they're looking at sort of like the empty cabinet Brooklyn Nets type situation once everyone is old and gone.
Yep. All right. So with that, let's move on to our final topic for today. It is about your Gilas Pilipinas, and the semifinals of the PBA just ended. And our question is, with the performance of some of the players that you saw, Rafe, I mean, I know that you've been following it as much as I have. Anybody that's not on the Gilas pool that you think should be because of the way that they played? I mean, it's all about top-level performance and who's in form. You were talking football terms a while ago, and then that should be another one. Who's in form that you think should be part of that pool, maybe to replace Jason Castro with him out?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the stuff with Gilas there, it's frustrating because the way the even the Gilas SBP and the PBA are trying to come up with a framework that works for both parties. But as someone who wants to see the very best Gilas teams out there, you get that sort of sinking feeling that we'll never see the very best version of a Philippine national team. Like if we could just pick any of the very best players out there. Jason Castro, he's a pulled hamstring. I mean, there's a good chance he can come back in time for a Seaba if they want him for that. I feel like I'm dodging the question
you are.
because the real answer is it's Seaba. They can just send the cadets and win. It's all you got to do is beat Thailand.
Well, and we're playing here.
And it's here, yeah. There's not going to be any of the Thailand, home cooking. Who would I like to see?
Who anybody stand out? Like, because for me, Gio Halalon was great, and Alain Maliksi as well was phenomenal. And I would.
Well, Halalon is in the pool, right?
He's a cadet, and
Maliksi. Look, I think he's.
Oh my God.
He's the kind of player who. You want to see play internationally for the Philippines, for Gilas. His length, his athleticism, he can shoot really well. When he's healthy, he's been sort of snake bitten over the years where he would come on like he's been doing in this conference and then boom, ACL.
Yeah.
And he's disappears for a year. Maliksi would be someone
great. And he had an attitude that was just like, that is what I would want
taking
on my
over,
team. That's what I want to see.
And you know what? He also has this length in the game and athleticism that obviously translates to international basketball. I like when the guys who have the more sort of, janky Pinoy style, the bara players, the guys who really, you're like, how's this guy going to compete against France or whoever? I like when we get to see them and sort of see what it's like to throw the Calle out there into the FIBA. Actually, I would, the guy who I've always wanted to see get a run on Gilas or for the national team who's never done it is Arwin Santos. He's a guy who. I don't know if it would work. I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm saying as something I am interested in as a basketball fan, I would like to see him get that shot, and obviously, playing on the same team as Junmar Fajardo, you're never going to choose him over Junmar for the way under the current system. But he's a guy, it's not like he's undersized, he doesn't have the consistent outside shooting you hope for with the in the international game, but everything else matches up fairly well. Is the length, the size, the defensive ability. Ganuelas Rosser and some of these other those guys have played well in international tournaments before, and you could see Arwin playing. Effie agrees to play in that role, playing that role well and giving a little more offense.
Yeah. Mo?
No, I think Rafe said everything kind of right there. And since we're running out of time anyway, I think we should just kind of wrap this one up. We got some debates and we got Jinno in LA. So,
we'll be back.
I think it was well said, Rafe.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Ball Hogs PH cut into a break. We'll have one-on-one when we return. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Ball Hogs PH. Araneta, Rafe Bartholomew in studio, of course, replacing Jinno Rufino for today, and of course, Mo Twister live from Los Angeles. So this is the part of the show where you guys get to debate with us. And our first caller right now, I believe his name is John, all the way from Sacramento. So
I wonder what he's going to debate about.
This topic is going to be about Memphis. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing okay, man.
Good.
What's your
better than you are?
All right, John, what's your debate topic?
My debate topic is: did Vlade or the front office rush things out, like panic about trading DeMarcus Cousins?
Okay, so you are saying that they did rush or they didn't rush?
They did.
They did rush. Okay.
And you mean like instead of waiting until the very last minute because there are a couple days left before the trade deadline and they just went out and shipped them out too soon?
Right. Well, and if you look at the argument, I think you look at what they got back with Buddy Hield, draft
Steph
pick,
Curry.
Okay.
Rafe, Steph Curry.
Might not be enough in some people's eyes. Maybe if you wait longer, you get something better.
Okay, so do you agree that they rushed it or not? Mo Twister.
I disagree. I don't think they rushed it. And again, I'm not sure. I'm iffy on this one. I'm just gonna disagree so we have some conversation here, some contrasting conversation with this guy. I disagree. They didn't rush, but they got screwed.
Rafe.
I agree that they rushed, but I think they had a good reason to rush.
Okay.
The reason being, if you listen to a lot of the reporting coming out of Sacramento.
Wait,
That's it?
Wait.
Okay.
Before we start
Just
the
for now,
debate.
for now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for now.
So do you agree or do you disagree?
I
that
will
he
do
rushed?
I disagree.
You disagree.
all right.
I will agree with him either way, just so that we got some change going around here. I agree with him that they still had some time. So all right, John.
So, John, you just have to choose between Rafe or myself who you want to debate first. We're all still going to get our take on it and all that to throw it out there, but at least the one-on-one part here is either Rafe, myself versus you. Who do you want?
I'll go with Mo.
No,
Damn it!
that's a shocker.
Rafe sounded like he had a good answer too. He'll give it in a sec. All right, let's hear your thoughts. Fire away.
Okay. Here's the thing. Vlade said 2 weeks ago that he's not trading DeMarcus Cousins. He's not going anywhere. That was 2 weeks ago. So they have 2 weeks to prepare for whatever they want to do. And the Kings could also use the max contract as a leverage, especially with the new CBA and everything, to keep or trade DeMarcus Cousins. And I think they also have a deal. I think 2 days before Sunday, with Pistons or whatever, with Andre Drummond for DeMarcus Cousins and some picks. So I think there's a lot of There's a lot of trades, rumors, or deals that they can get rather than this deal. So I think they panic, they rush things out. So and they also have the deadline until Thursday, and they also have the whole summer to do it because Cousins' contract is still I think until 2018.
Yeah, he's got a year and a half left.
Yeah. All right, Mo.
Yeah, I mean, because the word rush is what's weird. I mean, we're all rushing, right? The trade deadline is on, is the end of the week. So I think my point I wanted to throw out here was they didn't rush in a sense that. Well, wait, hold on. Just I'm gonna make sure I get this right. It's that fire alarm in the background that's screwing me up, John. In the background, okay. I'm focusing on it and it's screwing me up. I don't think they rushed. I do think, though, they were kind of holding out as much as possible till they get the very best deal. And then when they realized that teams might be, teams like, say, like a Boston who's got some sexy picks or other teams that with assets, they're going to try their best to get the best deal possible. When they lost out on what Vlade said was a better deal than the Pelicans deal, then I think maybe, in fact, they were like, okay, this is what we have now. We don't know. We should pull the trigger on this. So yes, it was a little bit rushed, and that's why the wording is kind of off to me right now. But at the same time, they waited as much as possible. They already said out there that they weren't going to trade him, and then something great came along, that fell through. Another thing came along and said, okay, we're going to take this deal. But the trade rumors for DeMarcus have been going on and on and on for a very long time. Yes, they should have waited, but more importantly, they should have gotten something better in return, as Rafe said. The DeMarcus saga with Sacramento should be over. They've exhausted this relationship already. It really should be his time to get out of there. They just could have gotten something more in return. And I think that's really what most fans in Sacramento have a problem with. It's not that DeMarcus is gone. It's that he's gone for this shit. Like, this is what we got in return. Now, Vlade has come out and said, you know what? They want to change the culture in there. And that was kind of key on why they moved DeMarcus. Maybe because it's the bad attitude, but he said the word culture. We want a culture change. But yet this is the same team that signed guys like Ty Lawson, Darren Collison, who was suspended for kicking some a female's ass, which of course is incredibly wrong. Matt Barnes is on that team. So I think Vlade is just BSing everybody, and this management is really just among the worst in the NBA. I don't think they rushed. I think they're just stupid. It's just they really don't know what's going on over there. And a lot of the excuses that they're throwing out there really doesn't make sense. They could have waited, and maybe see at the very last minute if someone's willing to bite. But at the same time, they've been shopping DeMarcus for a really long time, and they just found out, this is probably the best we're going to do. And they pulled the trigger on a bad trade.
All right, Rafe, both points were given on their side. So before you give your vote on who wins, your points, what do you think?
Sure. I mean, a lot of what Mo said is correct. I think, John, what it really boils down to, man, is that the entire franchise in Sacramento is it's a mess. It's like a tire fire, man. I'm sorry. And that starts with ownership in the NBA. I mean, Vivek is still, I guess, a relatively new owner in the league. So there's time to learn and get better and sort of be less of a meddling owner as he's known to be in the league. But at the moment, he still is this sort of guy who wants to be in on every basketball decision, which is not a good idea when the other people making basketball decisions know a lot more about basketball. So listening to the reporting that has come out of Sacramento, I think what it sounds like happened was the front office, Vlade, Coach Yeager, they decided that they wanted to move on from DeMarcus Cousins and sort of turn over a new leaf, even if it meant sucking and and they already weren't good, but now really sucking. And they don't even have much future because they traded a lot of future picks to try and make Boogie happy in the past. So it's really a bleak situation. But even with that, they just decided, you know what? We give up already. We don't want to deal with it anymore. It's not working. Let's all just move on. But they had to convince their owner to agree to that. And so for whatever reason, owner Vivek has a chubby for Buddy Hield, a chubby for Buddy.
Hey.
And even if the rest of the NBA sees it as a terrible return for Boogie, they had to convince their owner, and their owner was like, well, this guy, Baxter Holmes of ESPN reported it, Vivek sees Buddy as a Stephen Curry-like talent or potential to be another Stephen Curry. Not many other people see that. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Most people would bet against it. But they basically, I think they rushed because they saw that, all these other deals that they were turning up for these offers that they were turning up for Boogie, Vivek maybe was turning down. Maybe they were showing it to him saying, hey, how about this? And he was like, no, not enough. They knew that he had a special feeling for Buddy Hield. They made a Buddy Hield deal, and they decided, you know what? We may never get another chance to get off of Boogie and his looming $200 million contract.
I want to ask you, when Vlade says that, and then we'll get to the end of this real quick, but when Vlade said, I had a better deal 2 days prior than this Pelicans deal, is he throwing his owner under the bus? Is he saying, like, dude, this ain't me? Like, this is all Vivek. This is not me. I had a better deal, but this is the one we pulled the trigger on. This is all his doing. Kind of indirectly blaming it on the owner, perhaps, because you're bringing up that he's kind of meddling in all the.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it sounds like that.
The deal back out. I heard from Twitter. I think like local news here in Sacramento. I think local radio station. Vlade said the deal is off. So,
but who backed out?
We don't know. I mean, who knows?
Because why would you, as Vlade, say I had a better deal?
Yeah.
That just, you're now saying we're idiots. We had a better deal, and then it didn't happen.
Well, yeah.
So I interpret that as, we had a better deal, but we went elsewhere. Meaning, I cooked something up. We didn't go that route. Don't look at me.
Yeah,
we got this haul.
That's pretty much how I see it too, and that's why you can't really say that they rushed the trade. I mean, it would be rushed if they were, selling. Well, they really didn't get much in return, but I mean, they did say we had better trade here. It just seems so weird. The whole situation seems weird. So with that, I don't know.
You can't really apply rational decision making to the Sacramento Kings right now because there's so many different people in charge of different things and changing their minds frequently. And so, if you can't sort of look in from the outside and be like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Well, of course it doesn't make sense. It's a mess. Nobody, when you have a bunch of people who aren't doing a very good job and aren't communicating with each other, they don't make good decisions. They don't really do things that make sense. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. It looks like they rushed. It might have been the only deal that they could make for a whole variety of factors. And yeah, I mean, you look at Vlade facing the press. I mean, he looks like one of those hostage videos. I mean, Vlade always kind of has the eye bags and the hair messed up and the crazy, the little shaggy beard. But I mean, this was Vlade at his absolute. I mean, he looked like he was.
The joke on Vlade today is that he's flopped more as a GM than he has as a player because the moves are so bad.
Those flops were intentional, at least as a player.
This one, he got brought down. All right, John. I guess the takeaway from the debate is that even on our debate, no one seems to win.
Yeah, not on this issue because
Yeah.
again, the Kings are so confusing.
Yeah,
But
it's just
let
so
me
bad.
let me ask you this, John, and then we'll let you go, sir. Are you glad not about the haul, but that DeMarcus is no longer on the Kings?
It's 50-50 decision. I mean, 50-50 opinion. I want him to go. I want him to stay. But the thing that we got is such
Yeah. No,
bullshit.
I think 100% of all basketball fans will say that you guys got the short end of this deal. But I wanted to know, being in Sacramento, are people kind of happy you're moving on finally from DeMarcus?
No, not yet. Not yet. Not
Gotcha.
yet.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks,
for the
John.
call, man. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, have a good one.
And let's pick up for our second caller, and he is one of my colleagues here at Sports 5. One of the nicest guys, really out there. What's up to shout out to his podcast as well, from the stands. Mr. Chuck Araneta joining us. Hello, Chuck.
What's up, buddy? The recently deceased From the Stands podcast. My goodness.
Oh my goodness, man!
Yeah.
I mean, we were all a big fan, even Rafe.
Oh man, I'm still subscribed. I mean,
know.
I've noticed it doesn't appear as often, but still, anytime it's around.
Hopefully, if we have nothing to do anymore, like if the PBA season never ends, maybe we can start the podcast again.
All right, Chuck. What is your debate topic for today?
All right, so I was thinking about what would be interesting, and I'm not gonna stray too far away from my Bulls fandom. So I was thinking, so there's this point guard in New York right now who's averaging around close to 18 points per game, around maybe 3 or 4 assists and a few rebounds, and he's had a pretty good season so far. But the question is, do you guys think that the Knicks should actually trade Derrick Rose to a different team? New rumors are with they have something in the works with Minnesota, but I was curious to pick your brains and see if you guys think that Derrick Rose should be on the move from Gotham City.
Okay. What do you think?
Me, well, I think they should. I think.
Okay, wait. Don't give your debate points yet. So you
Okay,
think that
yeah, I
they
think they
should?
should.
You think
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
should
yeah.
trade him?
Yeah, I
Rafe?
think they should.
I'll explain further. I think they should not trade him.
They should not trade him.
What?
Ah.
Okay, all right. I
Okay.
think they absolutely should trade him, need to trade him, would be stupid not to trade him.
Yeah, I agree. They should move Derrick Rose. The problem is that they're probably not going to find anybody that's going to take him. So I agree with Chuck. Mo agrees with Chuck. So it's the showdown of Rafe Bartholomew and Chuck Araneta.
Bring it,
Tiebreaker
bring
on the
it.
court.
All right, Chuck.
Okay.
You get to go first.
All right. Well, I'm really happy, Rafe, that you're the one who decided to disagree, because I mean you're the one most locked into the the New York culture and all of that. But the reason why I think they should trade Derrick Rose is because you don't normally see a player. You don't normally have stories come out of New York wherein a player disappears for an entire day, doesn't tell his team, and then just comes back the next day and nothing happens. I personally just think that this is such a strange relationship between the front office of New York and Derrick Rose. I mean, he's a still productive player, but I don't really see a future with Rose and with Knicks past this season. I don't really know if he's in their plans. And I mentioned also about his having good stats, throughout the season, but it's Rose the kind of guard you really want Kristaps Porzingis playing with for the next few seasons? I mean, I would rather have a point guard who can shoot. I would rather have a point guard who can space the floor for Kristaps Porzingis so he can operate inside. So that's one of some of the things that makes me think that maybe it is time to move on from Derrick Rose and trade him while you can still get something of value before he leaves for free agency.
Interesting. Okay, Rafe.
All right, so Chuck, I mean, all very, very good points, and my argument for not trading Rose is actually based on sort of a similar foundation, just looking at it in a different way, because I think that Derrick Rose is, even though he has decent sort of raw stats this year, I think that his value in the league is so low that I'm not sure that the Knicks would be able to trade him straight up for something that would be useful for the team. To get, say, Ricky Rubio back from Minnesota, the Timberwolves might insist that the Knicks throw in a second-round pick or I mean, do the Knicks have young players that anyone wants other than Porzingis, who's not going to be in there? No. But, I don't think you sacrifice any future assets to get rid of Derrick Rose. This season is already in the garbage. As much as Rubio is, I still think he has value, and hope that he finds a good fit for him in the league somewhere. I don't know if I would give up, picks of any kind or any kind of future asset that you value to get rid of Derrick Rose, who will be off their books at the end of this season, which they've already pretty much flushed down the toilet. So I think it will depend on the deal. If it is a situation where Tom Thibodeau is just still in love with Derrick Rose from the old Chicago days and thinks that he can somehow ignite the old magic, and he's willing to give Rubio straight up for Rose, or it becomes a thing where Minnesota is trying to buy Rose from New York, then do that in a heartbeat. But I think that the value for Rose might be so low, especially on the end of a contract where it's just a rental for the last, the end of a season. They might not be able to just get rid of him that easily. So I say Rose is not worth sacrificing any future assets for.
All right. Mo, your thoughts?
So you're saying that if somebody wants Derrick Rose and something else, it's out of the question. But if somebody wants Derrick Rose only, it doesn't matter what it's for. You got to take that deal.
Yeah,
is that essentially what I heard?
I think so. I mean, depending on, I don't know if I
because
would,
I would
if you
agree
want
with
to take back, like, we'll say, you're talking to the Lakers and we'll give you Derrick Rose straight up for Timofey Mozgov. Maybe you don't take back a long-term bad salary for Derrick Rose, but for just about anything that's not going to be
detrimental to the future.
Yeah,
or
like
really,
really gum up the Knicks for the long term. Yeah, just dump him.
Yeah,
if you can get something you like, get him.
Absolutely, I agree with you because of course we all know Derrick Rose. At least, even earlier part of this year was seeking a max contract. So that's anywhere between 150 million plus or something like that, which is crazy because 17-3-5 with a massive injury record is not going to get you 150 million dollars. It doesn't matter. I think maybe Chuck, you're kind of. Again, a little bit in love with Derrick Rose of the past, saying that he's having a decent season. 17-3 and I think 4, in fact, is not that great of a season on a team that's really struggling. So I think they need to trade him, but I do like Rafe's points on, well, what are you going to get back in return, or what more do you have to give? If it's anything you have to give more than Rose, no way. And if it's anything that we have to take in that's going to be long-term problems for us, no way. So
okay.
I like Rafe's answer.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
No, well, I agree with you guys. But the thing is, here's my point. I agree with what Mo said that, maybe, like raw stats, 17-3-4, not that good. But here's the thing. I think with Derrick Rose, the Knicks are still too good enough a team for them to be able to completely tank this season. I think that with the core of Derrick Rose, of Carmelo Anthony, Kristaps Porzingis, that's not going to get you towards really the bottom of the standings in the NBA. It's good enough for them to still be able to compete for a playoff spot, or at least stay within the 10-8 range. So if I'm the Knicks, I'm looking for a way to really just tank this season, especially if they're going to trade Carmelo Anthony. And I think that one way they can do that is to actually trade Derrick Rose. Just get whatever. And to your point, yes, do not take on a long-term contract that will hinder them from investing in Kristaps and getting better players around him. But I do think that if they do want to get rid of Rose, now is the time before his value just completely craps and before he leaves for nothing. And again, I do think that trading Rose would be a great stealth tanking move for them to be able to really get down and to be able to get a better lottery pick. And also shout out to Willie Hernan Gomez for potential young talent that can to build around D Rose and around Porzingis. So the Knicks have some pieces. They have some. I just think you maybe try to get something, whatever, even like a second round pick, and whatever junk that's expiring for D Rose, just so that you can tank and get a better pick for next year.
That I mean, as a tanking move, it can make sense. The scary thing, I mean, a lot of people have talked about Ricky Rubio for Derrick Rose. Ricky Rubio might make the Knicks better, I mean, and also like playing Brandon Jennings might make the Knicks better than having Derrick Rose pounding the ball. So it's like, it might be, I mean, the best tanking move might even just be holding on to Rose.
We need a better pick. Stay there.
But like, imagine, I mean, that you had
I mean,
Rubio.
they're five.
They're all speaking Spanish out there. Porzingis is, he's doing Espanol. Hernan Gomez is back. Everyone is loving each other. Carmelo starts, bringing out his old Spanish. Lala's out there.
No, listen, if I can take Rubio, I would, and then I'd shut down Porzingis for the rest of the season with some fake Achilles injury that's been bothering him all year long anyway. So, I mean, they're 5 games, out of the 8th spot, but they're also like 5 losses outside of the second worst record in the NBA. So, I mean, yeah, you got to tank if you're the Knicks at this point. But, boy, can you pass up? If Minnesota's offering Ricky Rubio, you're going to pass that up? I don't know, man.
You
gotta
take Rubio.
Even though you tank and you get a nice, sexy pick and you're going to take a point guard anyway because the first, 6 picks in the next draft will likely be a point guard, you still, I think, boy, that's great value for Derrick Rose.
The tanking move is you trade for Rubio and you start playing him at shooting guard.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
That's how you do it.
That's the key.
Chuck, thanks for joining us, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me on the show.
Anytime you want to join, our lines are always open for you, my friend.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right, that'll wrap up one-on-one. We're going to cut to a break. When we return, it is time to go to our press box where we have our very own Jinno Rufino. Welcome back, everybody, to Ball Hogs PH, and it's now time for our press box where we have our very own Jinno Rufino all the way live from Los Angeles, our press and our beat reporter from calling us from the All-Star Weekend. How are you doing, Jinno?
Good. It's funny that you call this the press box, and I'm the one that's being interviewed for it.
All right, buddy. So how was All-Star Weekend? Because we watched it from here, and it seemed lackadaisical.
I think that's a nice way to put it.
Spell it. No. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
No, the All-Star Weekend. It's been a long time since I think I've seen an All-Star game anyway that was competitive. I mean. Even like the slam dunk, the 3-point shootout, a lot of it was like the highlight may have been the skills challenge.
And that sucks.
But I think what the All-Star Weekend has become, at least in the past 10 years or so, it's really become more of a showcase. It's really more for marketing, more for PR, and it's really not what it used to be in terms of top-notch basketball. You just won't see that anymore, or at least not in the near future. Now, after the game, in the media room, there when Kyrie Irving was there during the press con, he was asked about the competitiveness of the game, and what Kyrie said, not verbatim, but what Kyrie said was that that the players normally would like a competitive game, but he understands why players that are part of a higher seeded teams, like especially the Spurs, the Cavs, the Warriors, he knows that those guys will probably want to take it easy because there's so much at stake. Now, something else that Kyrie said was that if the players, meaning the team, the players who are voted on or selected to be part of the All-Star game, if they would gather together, because I think even they feel it, even they know that it's not exactly a great show that they're putting on out there on the floor. And I think when they realized how lackadaisical they were, what Kyrie said was that they amongst themselves have to talk to each other, and to make it a little bit more competitive. So maybe next year when it's here in LA, they'll address that and take it a little bit more seriously. But it's very difficult because before the All-Star game during the media availability, I was asking every single one of the players I was able to talk to what their thoughts were about the extended All-Star break
Yeah.
And next year when the season starts earlier and the games are more spread out, so there's no back-to-backs, and then to try and eliminate players resting. All of them, every single one of them, love the longer break for the All-Star weekend, or sorry, it seems like it's going to be All-Star week, and they also like the fact that the NBA did something about the scheduling, and so that to eliminate players from taking games off and resting.
Mo?
Yeah, no, I mean, I see why they would like that, but I also at the same time don't think that the All-Star Game's ever going to be competitive again unless there's something worth playing for. I know a lot of people don't like the baseball style of, the All-Star Game then dictates home field advantage, but I liked it. I know I'm in the minority because it meant something to the players, and I just don't see them ever really kind of making this a major competition because, yes, a lot of things are at stake, though they're trying by doing entertaining things during the game. It's just a lot of the times we could care less, though. This whole Durant, Westbrook, alley-oop seemed to get a lot of traction. I know that LeBron was trying his best to make it worthwhile by shooting a three-pointer with, 40 feet away or whatever the hell it was. They're going to try their best, but ultimately we're not going to see the competitiveness again that we used to maybe, 10, 15, 20 years ago when we were watching this and intently watching it because, the East versus the West
20 years
meant
ago,
something.
whoa.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, no, you're right. I mean, it's a different time. I mean, it's like I said, it's really become more of what happens during the weekend, like all the brands that are there, the pop-up shops, the events that are happening outside of the game. The game has become a little bit more of a, I don't want to say sideshow, but it hasn't. It's not. It's almost as if it's not the main attraction anymore. Everything else that happens in the week on the weekend in the city on the host city, that's become the attraction. The parties, the sneaker launches, the limited edition, these pop-up stores that pop up that the brands put together. Those have become the highlight of the All-Star weekend. The game itself, it's almost an add-on.
I was
right, and again, a lot of people can relate to that because not a lot of people actually go and make the trip out to enjoy that. And if you're an international fan, the chances you'll never see or experience an All-Star week in this case. So yeah, I mean, again, it's.
Well, I mean, even if you're just like some dude traveling to New Orleans from Alabama, like you're not getting invited to
you're not getting a ticket
to Kenny Smith's party.
So.
I was actually reading an article that maybe if you're going to change it to an all-star game of some sorts, why not be like the Pro Bowl and do it after the season or something? I don't know. Is there any way that we can fix the all-star game?
At least you'll truly be an all-star because the all-star game is half-season all-star, not full-season all-star, right? But
Well, so I mean, I think that social media shaming we've seen it kind of has some effect on players. They do care. I mean, they know that their brands are linked to sort of what people think about them, and they could see it in real time. And maybe they do see like some of the criticism and people just being like, "Man, this sucks watching this game," and it inspires them a little bit. The kind of I don't think the NBA would do this because it would get embarrassing fast. But if you could put like a screen in the arena showing the tweets live to, in real time
in LA, they would love that.
They would, except then people would really start doing crazy stuff on there.
But I mean, if I don't have a favorite team anymore. They used to be the Sonics, but let's just say my favorite team were the Warriors, right? Probably my next best pick for a favorite team. I wouldn't want to see Steph trying too hard. I wouldn't want to see KD and them try or Clay because I understand that this season the championship is way more important than that. So in fact, I want my guy to sit down and not try very hard because that's more important to me. So again, how do you fix that?
Well, that goes back to what Kyrie was saying. He completely understands why.
Yeah, but he was saying as a player. I'm saying as a fan. If I were truly a fan of my team, I don't want to see my guy out there. Period. I don't even want them to qualify for any of the events on the other days because I want them home resting.
But I mean,
my guy might get jet lag.
The All-Star weekend, All-Star game, and all these side events. It's really more for the international audience than the local audience. I would say it's what it is. It's really more for the international audience and the city, the audience of that particular city, the host city. Like you won't really. I mean, Florida is what, if I'm not mistaken, about 3 hours away from New Orleans, and it's funny because it's NOLA is considered a Western Conference team. But anyway, like you won't see people driving from Orlando or Miami making the trip all the way to the Big Easy to catch the All-Star game. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
You'll see guys who the sponsors fly in winners from the Philippines, from different countries to witness the game, and of course, all the brands. I mean, it's really that's what it's become, and it's going to be hard. I mean, I can imagine it to be a little bit more competitive, but not like what it was back in the 80s.
Well, speaking
Sure,
of being competitive and not as competitive as they were in the 80s, let's talk about the Lakers.
Are you a radio
nice
DJ?
one.
Because that was you need a career in radio. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So,
That's why you get paid the big bucks here on the show, man. That was
Strike guy is pretty good, huh?
badass, man.
I was just looking for my opening all throughout that entire speech there, Gino. All right, so Genie Bus just decided to go Cersei Lannister on the entire Laker organization.
You're on fire.
I
man.
know,
Look
I'm
at
bringing
you.
it today. Just in case there's an opening, I'm just saying I'm willing to delete it from my Twitter bio. She decided to kill everybody and bring in Magic Johnson as our resident Laker head. What's going on over there, buddy?
I mean, there was when Magic was introduced, and the news in the Big Easy was mixed emotions. A lot of people were thinking, I don't know if Magic's ready for this. And then the funny thing is, people were saying, no, Magic should be fine as long as Mitch Kupchak is there. well, that's not going to happen anymore, is it? So who knows? I mean, Magic. A lot of us poke fun at his tweets, even though it looks like his Twitter account is both his real account and also a parody account. I'm not too sure exactly whether it's real or not, but it's a little funny. He does sound like he's a little dated in the sense that he's not so up to date with some of the stuff that the younger GMs or the more I guess the more up to date,
Millennial ones?
up to date guys. I don't want to say millennial. That's a little too young. But I mean,
What do you mean by that? Like, what have you seen for you to say something like that?
Well, I mean, just some of the things that he says. He said the first call that he would make if he was the one in charge is to call Kobe Bryant. Why would he do that? No, I mean, look, those are two of my favorite athletes of all time, Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant. And as a Laker fan, I'm not extremely confident that Magic, putting the reins in his hand now will be, is the wisest move. But I mean, Genie had to do something. I mean, Jim Buss gave himself a deadline. Basically, gave him and Mitch Kupchak a deadline, and they're not going to reach it.
But let's try to talk about specifics. What do you think Magic will bring to the Lakers positive? Like, what positive attributes or qualities, and maybe some of the negative ones, I guess.
Well, the positive thing that Magic will bring is his positive attitude, and he is part of the Laker lore. He is part of the mystique of the Laker franchise, and he's arguably Laker, right? I mean, maybe worldwide. I mean, he's actually one of the most beloved. So because of that, people are going to listen to him. Now, whether his ideas with as far as what the roster would look like, whether that's going to translate to a good product for the Lakers on the floor, it remains to be seen. I mean, he's not very up to date when it comes to some of the stuff like advanced stats, analytics, and stuff like that. He's not. What Magic he basically he uses his heart so much that his strength could also be his weakness, if that makes any sense.
The one thing that I think will be in his favor is that because he has that, he is the like heart guy. You have Rob Pelinka there now in the GM position. That will be the one that will level it out. And Rob Pelinka has a lot of pull in the NBA. And
It's like a stone cold operator.
exactly. So if you have that with Magic, it'll work.
Which you need, because I mean, Magic is in charge of basketball operations, and Mr. Palinka will be the GM. You needed a bad guy. You needed, because Magic's such a nice guy. He's smiling all the time. Like, he's friends with everyone. So you have him in the forefront, and when you're making a deal, making a trade, and you have Rob underneath, like doing all the dirty work, and it could work. It really could. I mean, all the players that Rob has managed throughout his career, that speaks for itself. And this all happened when I was on an airplane going from New Orleans to Houston to here to LA. So I haven't caught up with everything just yet. I just know that there is going to be more movement that's going to happen. There was a lot of buzz going on during the All-Star weekend.
Right. Well, they did make a trade. I mean, already under Magic's watch,
Yeah.
they brought in Corey Brewer and a pick for Lou Williams. But what I want to ask you guys, and maybe this is something that Aaron, Rafe as well can chime in on, is is there any correlation between legends who've played this game at a high level, elite level, top player all-time style, which Magic, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan have, yet when they get into the management side of a team, they don't fare very well. I know Jerry West did a really good job, I guess, as both on the court and off the court, but guys like, again, Bird, Thomas, Magic, Jordan, in this case, no championships on teams that they've run. Is there any kind of correlation there between guys who, just because you're great on the court and you're a legend, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good off of it?
Well, I mean, Jerry West has been lucky because he went the franchise that he was first in charge of was the Lakers, and during that time, they were still in peak form before they kind of fell off the past 4 years or so, and then obviously he went to the Warriors after that. So it's been a little bit, and it's been a little, he's been blessed with the situations that he's found himself in. Of course, he's the one that made the Memphis Grizzlies competitive, and that's Memphis. So I mean, imagine what he could do in a
right. But is he okay? Is he the only one? Is my point. I mean, clearly we know the accolades of Jerry West. We know what he's done. I'm talking about the other guys. So Magic,
Bird
Bird
has a mixed record. I mean, they no championship yet, but Indiana has had some good teams under him. He was he coached them to the finals. He's not quite. It's not. There have been some rough things as well, but. Indiana's not the easiest team to get players in and all that stuff. I guess I think, Jinno, I'm curious about what you think will happen sort of if say Magic's role is intended to be as sort of this charismatic figurehead, the guy who closes the deal, like, they bring in the free agent and show him show him the plan. Magic comes in and is like, don't you want to be part of my family, baby? Yeah. And, and it's all gravy from there, right? But what if, because he might have ultimate say over some basketball decisions. What if Rob Pelinka and the front office sort of make all, like, we're in the draft war room. They've done all the research. They've figured it all out. They're like, we're picking this guy. This is our future. And Magic is like, you know what? I like that other guy. I haven't done all this as much work as you guys, but I'm Magic and I like him. You think there's? Does that happen?
No, I don't see that happening. I mean, he's not Vlade Divac or.
What are you, I'm not subtweeting.
I disagree. I think Magic's going to be very much involved and kind of bossy. I think that's his character.
No, he will be involved, but he's also somebody who will listen. He will listen to what the others have to say, what his team says. Remember, Magic he does enjoy the limelight, but he's also the ultimate team player. So he will listen to the guys and what the rest of the Laker front office has to say about certain trades and certain moves that they have to do.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at his business career, after playing, seems like Magic has gotten involved in so many different things that he wouldn't necessarily, have known how to start from scratch, movie theaters and Starbucks. And he probably knows how to delegate.
Yeah, and that's why I think the assignment of Rob Pelinka was a great move by him. I mean, he's still with the Dodgers. I mean, Magic has so many things that he will do, and I think Magic will be more in use in terms of signing free agents. Pelinka will be in terms of making trades and finding different moves here and there. They will help each other out. This could be a good move for the Lakers, and then at the same time, it could be like the worst move that they could do.
I wouldn't say worse. I mean, it couldn't get much worse than it was the past couple of years. So What Magic Johnson is going to do, he's going to be Jerry Buss. What Jerry Buss did with a lot of the free agents and a lot of the signings that they did was he was the one that entertained them. He was the one that would bring them to to these Hollywood parties, to these
Forum Club.
Yeah.
the Forum Club. I mean, Jerry Buss was that, and when Jeannie was looking for the person to take the place of what Dr. Buss brought to the team, she couldn't have thought of a better person.
Not even Phil?
Yeah, because we all know he's a bundle of joy. But my only concern is that Magic's enthusiasm and I guess his positivity could be a little bit of a could also be his downfall as the Lakers continue on to try and rebuild.
All right.
He has to stop tweeting, right?
Yeah,
he can't he can't
definitely has to stop.
he can't tweet ridiculous things about basketball anymore because it's funny now, but like once you're in charge, people then they'll make the leap to his decision making and start blaming him.
Of course, Laker Nation signed LeBron James. Yeah.
Yes.
That's absolute.
Mo, you got anything else?
One thing.
No,
one thing I want to add though.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you guys were talking about it before I came on, but throughout the All-Star weekend, it was very strange. But Boogie Cousins was actually happy most of the weekend before the trade was announced.
Yeah.
So which led me to believe that he knew this was going to happen, even before it was announced.
Oh, interesting. Because it was funny.
But that's just my theory.
Well, when the video came out of him in the press room when he found out, that was hilarious.
See, but I think what he was told, I was actually there. I was not far away from when that happened.
Uh-huh.
Although since I'm not very tall, I couldn't really see exactly what's going on.
Okay.
But my understanding is for to him that it's out. People already know, and because of that, that's what he reacted.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, kind of like how Carmelo got traded when he was with Denver.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody there was waiting for the announcement of where Jahlil Okafor was going to move, but this was a bigger piece.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, will we be seeing you back here next week?
Yeah, I am going to be going to the post Laker game on Sunday. Against the Spurs, that's going to be fun.
Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be great.
And then I head home after that.
All right, we'll see you then, buddy. That'll wrap up this episode of Ball Hogs. Mo, you got anything else?
No, I got to thank Rafe for being here, man.
Yeah.
Rafe, I think you did a great job
Thanks,
tonight. We super appreciate it. And, man, you're always more than welcome to be a contributor on our program at any time, man. Thank you.
Please, thank you anytime. I love it.
There, Rafe, thanks for joining us for Jinno Rufino in LA, as well as Mo Twister, Rafe Bartholomew, and Araneta here in Manila. We'll see you guys again next week. Bye-bye.